My Team Media is your home for your team.
Joining us in the Coach's Corner, he is an assistant coach for SUNY Cortland. He coaches up the linebackers on the varsity squad. He is the JV head coach. It's Coach Steve Cushing. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, Joel, thank you so much for having me on.
Real quickly, just give us a little bit of a bio and background on you.
So I played 4 years at Misericordia University in Dallas, Pennsylvania. I played safety and linebacker. I graduated in 2018, December, and then I had the opportunity to coach at Wilkes University, which is down in Worcester, Pennsylvania. So I coached safeties there for 2.5 years. I grew to the defensive pass game coordinator, and in this summer, I had the opportunity to interview and accept the position to be the linebackers coach at Cortland. So I've been at Cortland since really July, and I've been loving it ever since.
So you're new to the Cortland staff, campus, and facilities. My Team Media has had the opportunity many times to broadcast from the SUNY Cortland Sports Complex. It's a tremendous sports complex and football stadium at any level, let alone D3. The athletic department is always helpful and accommodating when we come and do a game. Fran and the rest of the staff always make sure we're taken care of. Always a pleasure to do a game from SUNY Cortland. Give me your thoughts and experience so far with the athletic department and the sports complex in your short time.
Yeah, I would say that we have by far some of the best facilities that I've ever been around in any D3 program. We've had in the past, years ago, we had the Jets on campus. So that helps, bring in a bunch of fields. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, like you mentioned, our beautiful stadium. We also have a brand new student learning center that has, multiple courts, full cafeteria just for the student athletes and for any student that's down on lower campus, which is focused around physical education and our athletic training program and our sports medicine program. So the amount of resources that the university gives to not just the athletics, but to anybody that's involved in wanting to pursue a career that has to do with, sports medicine and physical education or education majors is fantastic. Again, we have some of the best sports information department, around. Fran Elliott does a fantastic job getting coverage for all of our games and, of course, covering them themselves. And then, like I said, just the athletic department as a whole, just the camaraderie across the board is fantastic.
So there's a lot of schools out there and a lot of coaching jobs. What drew you to SUNY Cortland? Obviously, Coach Mack retired a couple years ago. He had this program year in and year out as a powerhouse. New head coach Kurt Fitzpatrick comes in. He picks up where Coach Mack left off. Program doesn't miss a beat. You guys are an absolute wagon this year, the team to beat in the Empire 8. What attracted you and made you want to interview for a coaching job at SUNY Cortland?
Yeah, so for me personally, I jumped at the opportunity for a couple of reasons. Number one, like you said, Cortland has such a great history. Number two, I remember when I was getting recruited years ago, and when Coach Fitzpatrick was at Morrisville, and I remember meeting him, and he had an impact on me wanting to pursue a career in coaching because we actually talked about that when I met with him years ago. So when I saw the opportunity that he was going to Cortland, and then later on I saw the opportunity to apply for the position, take the position, it was fantastic to learn from somebody that has built the program and is now taking over a program and is looking to continue to grow that program. And then Coach Morgan, Lazarus Morgan, our defensive coordinator, he's had one of the top defenses in the Empire 8 for the past 4 years at Alfred. So having the opportunity to work under him and learn under him has been a phenomenal opportunity as well. For me, it was just an opportunity to learn under two more great coaches. I've already been able to work with, great coaches at Wilkes University under John Drock and Tom Elder. So to add two more just great mentors is a fantastic opportunity for me.
Now, does the JV team mirror the varsity team when it comes to the exact system and exact plays that you will run on offense and defense? Or what type of system and what plays you guys run on the JV are dictated on who's on the team that given day or that given year?
Yeah, so it's basically just based off of what our varsity team's doing. So, offensively, we're going to keep everything consistent, run the same type of schemes. The only thing that would change is, like you said, based on personnel, if we have more tight ends, then we'll do more tight end heavy sets. If we have less tight ends and more fullbacks, then we'll do more two-back personnel sets. But at the end of the day, the way that our offense works and our defense works, we're pretty consistent across the board and pretty multiple, where we can stay on the same page and still run out of different personnel.
Obviously, during the week, the number one priority is the varsity team and prepping for your Saturday games. With JV games, there's not a lot of broadcasts out there, not a lot of film. As JV coaches, do you guys do a film exchange, or do you just go into the game not worrying about what your opponent's going to do, just worrying about what you're going to do and your execution?
Yeah, all week we're focused on the game on Saturday, really, and then really the JV game is just an added opportunity for the younger guys. Yeah. As coaches, we don't really do a film exchange. Again, we play these teams like Fisher. We'll play them later in the season. We've played them the past, forever, many years. So we have film from last year. So as coaches, we might look at some film today just to kind of go over, refresh kind of what they do on defense and base scheme. But other than that, no film exchange. We'll just kind of take the game plan from Saturday and continue on it to Sunday.
Well, and like you said, because you guys play these teams so much at the varsity level, and the JV teams are pretty much replicating that game plan from Saturday and rolling it over to their JV teams on Sunday to continue to work on things. You don't really need to worry about too much what the JV is doing, because they're going to run the same sets, the same formations, and some of the same plays that you saw on Saturday. Obviously, this is your first year as the SUNY Cortland JV head football coach since you just started this fall. But in your experience, does the JV coach kind of rotate through the varsity assistants, or does one assistant coach at the varsity level assume that job as the JV head coach and keep that for years?
From my experience, it's been pretty much it'll switch from year to year. I think it's a phenomenal opportunity for myself and all the other younger coaches on staff that on offense, Coach Segala is able to make the play calls. For myself on defense, able to make play calls. Coach Finkel, Coach Wallace, our defensive line, defensive backs coach. Just to have an opportunity to work with special teams in different areas that they wouldn't normally work on a Saturday. Right. So the head coach title is, I would say, changes every year, but I think overall it's more of a group effort, especially on Sundays and Saturdays than anything else.
So the JV roster is a fluid situation. That changes week by week depending on who plays on Saturdays, correct?
The roster will go up and down. It'll change based off of who plays basically on Saturday. So our roster, our depth chart will change, Saturday night once we figure out exactly who played in the varsity game and who's not going to be playing in the JV game. The guys can only play in one game per week, so we always want to make sure it's consistent as far as that goes.
Let's say a guy goes off in the JV game. He's got 5 touchdowns or 3 interceptions or 6 sacks. Can that really propel them and springboard them into the rotation more, at least in practice, if not getting some game time on a Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if a guy breaks out and has a great performance, then he's going to have the opportunity to get more reps, in that week leading up to the next game. And Coach Fitzpatrick, Coach Morgan, all of our coaches are on the sidelines cheering on the guys. It's just, like I said, it's just based off of where they fit for that week and kind of who's taking that next step. These JV games are a great opportunity for everybody to show that they're ready to play on Saturday.
It goes without saying, these guys want to be playing on Saturday. The majority of these guys were the star on their team, the best athlete at their school, the big dog in town, the standout player in their area, in their league, in their section, led their teams to sectional titles or state titles, and they're used to being the big fish in a small pond for some of them. Now you're at a different level. Even at the D3 level, all these guys were good. It's not like, you're good and you got to drag the rest of the guys along with you. These guys were the best of the best where they're coming from. While I'm sure it's not ideal for these guys to be playing on Sunday on the JV team, it gives them more reps, more in-game experience, and an audition for you and the coaching staff. That being said, who has really jumped out at you either during the week or in a JV game that, not that they've surprised you, but you're happy or impressed with their performance? They continue to get better, and each week they continue to not only improve, but remain consistent.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the fact that high school is such a different level than college. And it's the speed of the game and giving these guys opportunities to get more solid reps. For us, defensively, freshman linebacker Joe Ruggieri from Oceanside has done a phenomenal job. And part of him doing a phenomenal job in the JV games, he's also been Scout Team Player of the Week for our offense, and all week that he puts in the prep. A guy like J.J. Razmowski, who is a freshman quarterback from Cicero, North Syracuse, same thing, been JV, not JV Player of the Week, sorry, but Scout Team Player of the Week, and then goes out in the JV games and leads a touchdown-winning drive, first JV game. Ty Kohler from Sayville in New York. Alex News, a DB from Frank McCourt in Harlem, New York. Just guys across the board that, like you said, of not necessarily that we didn't expect them to do great, but more so that they're continuing to prove themselves and really get the speed of the game down going from high school to college.
And finally, Coach, while getting W's is always fun, you always want to win. You always want to have more points than the other guy on the scoreboard when the clock turns to zeros. But at the JV level, there's no conference championships, there's no playoffs. It's really more about getting these guys some reps and some experiences. And it's more about getting these guys some reps and experiences and working on situational football, whether it be a 2-minute drill or a goal line stand. This is a chance for these guys to work on that stuff against other people than their teammates at practice. And so you're looking at the execution and the performance more than concentrating on the W's.
100% the execution. The way we always preach to the guys is in practice, a lot of these guys that are on JV are taking scout reps against all conference players or Empire 8, players of the week. And then they get into the JV games, and it's just another opportunity for them to have a great, rep and continue to get good experience. And if you execute consistently, if your efforts are consistently, then the W and the losses will take care of themselves. So, like you said, it's 100% more so about the execution, and the W's come after. The wins and losses come after.
Coach, I know you're busy. Thanks so much for giving us a few minutes of your time. Best of luck against St. John Fisher. Continued success to you in your coaching career in the Cortland Red Dragons this season.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
All right, there you go. Linebackers coach for SUNY Cortland and the JV head football coach, Steve Cushing. This has been the Coach's Corner on the My Team Media Network.